Elland Road, goal from Daniel Podence, and then obviously Leeds turned it around. But look, obviously the club's a bit of a mess right now. You know, when you look at that bench, and the only real attacker on there is Chem Campbell and a bunch of centre-backs. And, you know, a bunch of under-23s that if you walk past in the street, you probably wouldn't even know who they are. You know, the club's a bit of a mess right now. But if you look at that overall performance, I don't think it was that bad. And I think there is encouragement to take if the club actually start pulling their finger out and backing Bruno a bit. I think the raw materials were there. You know what I mean? Ultimately, we lost that game because Jose Sarr was... I don't know what the hell Jose Sarr was doing in that first half. Same with René Nuri, and Dendonker's very limited. But, you know, if Jose Sarr had a normal game and we actually had a proper central midfielder who could actually progress the ball, because Leeds did press really well together. They had a line of 4. They had one of their guys on all of our defenders. And normally, if you had a centre midfielder that could carry the ball, even Moutinho, but if you had one that could actually carry the ball that we should have signed by now, then I feel like we would have probably been able to beat their press. And when we did get into attacking areas, we did do well. And everyone had their moments, albeit no one was particularly clinical at the front 4. But I thought Hwang had a really good game. I slag him off a lot, but I thought he was good through the middle. Daniel Pence was wasteful, but, you know, obviously delivered. Neto had moments, as did Gibbs White, although I thought he was a bit quiet. And I think we did look better, by the way, when Gibbs White went centrally and Pedro went over to the right. But I think the raw materials are there. Like, switching to a back 4, I know we've played it in pre-season, a back 4, but old habits do die hard. And this club has been like playing a back 5 for years. It is gonna take a while. And I think that first half, I'm not saying we were the better side, but I think we were pretty competitive against... I know Jason Marsch has been at Leeds for a little bit now, but they're playing a very similar system to the one under Bielsa. It's not like they're just doing a different type of press. They're still pressing. And we did have big chances in that big first half. I think if we had a better midfielder than Dendoncker, probably would have scored that and probably would have progressed better. If Jose Sarr and Nate Nuri weren't moving mad, we probably wouldn't have conceded. And look, also it's one game, it doesn't matter, we lost. And it doesn't matter if Jose Sarr would have been better, because he wasn't better. But I think the raw materials of us playing a back 4, the positives are there. And I think if the recruitment gets done better, look, obviously Wolves were unlucky. I think Moutinho probably would have played this game, and Hwang probably would have been on the bench, and then we could have subbed on Hwang and it would have done better. But ultimately, that's not Bruno's problem. I'm not really going to go in on the side I can't really go in on the players. Like, it's not their fault that's our 11 and our bench. It's not the players' fault. It's not Bruno's fault. It's on the club. And look, I think we had enough to beat Leeds, but ultimately it's away from home at Elland Road in a new formation, and the club haven't backed Bruno. And look, in 2 weeks' time, we could sign Nunez, we could sign Batshuayi, and we could sign another midfielder, another striker, that we could go on a run. And we do have a very easy start to the season, which is a dub. And Fulham at home should be an easier game next week, although they were very good against Liverpool. But for me, this game just exposes the club more than the players or Bruno. Like, people can go in on Jose Sarr or René Nuri or Dendoncker, but it's not their fault. You know, they're learning a new system. I think the patterns of play were there, and there were highlights in that game. We were dominating the game for long periods of time. Thought Ruben Neves had a really good game. You know, people keep trying to tell me on Twitter, oh, we need to buy a defensive midfielder and push Neves further forward. Neves is perfect where he is. We don't need a defensive midfielder. We don't need João Palhinha. I don't know why people keep moaning about it. We need someone to take Dendoncker's spot, and an actual striker, although I thought Hwang was very good. And I wouldn't go in on the performance today. I wouldn't go in on Bruno. I wouldn't go in on any individual players. Focus on the club, because I think the raw materials are there. You know, I was actually excited watching that game. I know we conceded 2, but I never really felt like we weren't going to score or at least have a shot. And it was actually nice seeing players actually have shots from range. It was nice seeing Morgan Gibbs White actually be able to take a corner, because, you know, our corners were tragic last season. But I think the raw materials are there. I'm not too concerned about the team or the performance. You know, Leeds are a decent Premier League side. They were better than I thought they would be. And I think we handled them quite well, considering it was the first game we're playing a back 4 in the Premier League in ages. So I'm not really worried about the actual side. I just think the club needs to pull their finger out now. Because, you know, if we lose against Fulham at home and we have a similar performance like that and we're subbing on Chem Campbell and we play well, but there's just not that extra bit of quality, people are going to turn on the board. And, you know, I'm always one of the people that calls to wait till the end of window and calls for patience. And I still stand by that in a way. But we can't be losing 3 games on the bounce like we did last season. So yeah, we have an easy start to the season. If you lose those games and all of a sudden you've got Man City and Liverpool and you could not win in your first 8, I don't think that will happen. I saw enough today that I think the back 4 will work. I still think we should play a 4-3-3 if we don't... You can't play this formation if you don't have someone that can progress the ball. But yeah, it was a fine performance. It was fine. I'm not going to slag off the boys. It's on the club. It's on the club now. Yeah, over to Fosun now and over to Scott Sellers. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Yeah,